my god. Amphibia Season 3 is almost here. I can't believe we don't have to wait another year. This is both a blessing and a curse. For those who has caught up to the show up until this point, it should be no surprise at all for me to say that Season 2 is a very good season for the show. It is mostly fun and lighthearted, but the finale left me and everyone else with so much dread. To be honest with you guys, I haven't been this desperate to crave for the next season of a show ever. During the hiatus, I just couldn't stop thinking about Amphibia and how the show would progress. Even watching the Owl House weekly or listening to Donda on loop or aggressively banging my head to Kendrick Lamar saying Top of the Morning repeatedly couldn't stop it. I was paranoid at one point we had to wait 12 months for the next season to drop, just like with Season 2, but thankfully the Frog Crew are being kind to us. And now the trailer has dropped, and as I expected, there will be so much going on in this season. Much more than it has been previously on the show. So it's safe to say that my expectations in this thing is huge. I mean, how can it not? Here I'm going to talk about the things I look forward in this final season, judging from the trailer, titles, clips, and anything else we know about Season 3. As usual, there will be obvious spoilers for the show throughout Season 1 and Season 2, so please don't watch this video if you're not caught up yet, especially if you haven't seen True Colors. So going into this season, what's almost certain is that we'll have two major settings that will take center stage. The city of Los Angeles and the world of Amphibia. Both of them will provide two different storylines. One is about Anne and the Planters exploring the city where she lives in, while still trying to find their way back to Amphibia, which is ironic how it is the complete turnaround of the main premise of the first two seasons. While the other one is about Sasha trying to form a resistance with Yunan and Olivia and the rest of the Wordwood people to try to stop Andreas while also try to find a way to Earth, with the Calamity Box still in Andreas' hands. Oh, and saving Marcy, whatever. And due to the season focusing on so many things, I have this lingering worriness that it won't pan out as well as I want it to be, because Amphibia is well known for its slow pacing and chill vibes in most of its episodes. And while I know there will be a good portion of that, when we get to know some Earth people and go to some real Earth places, we all know it's the aftermath of True Colors that matters the most. Because of that, we have to get more insight to the show's plot by answering all of the important questions and unfolding what will happen next to the characters. For example, who made the Calamity Box and how did it end up on some random store on Earth? Was this creature on Andreas' basement? Oh yeah, about that.
How do I deal with this?
What happens to Sasha after the portal closes? Is there any other way for Anne to return to Amphibia? And finally, how will Andreas plan his attack on Earth? Oh yeah, and what will happen to Marcy? I can't forget about that. If Season 2 is able to balance the plot and the comedy well, then Season 3 has to go beyond that. I believe that the crew is able to pull this off because of how emotionally heartbreaking True Colors is. Let's hope that the flow of each episode chronologically is well placed and well paced. Now that's gone out of the way, let's finally analyze the trailer. So just like what a proper trailer should do, it grabs as many snippets from different scenes and making them engaging, while still keeping the spoilers to the minimum. Let's begin with Anne's story on Earth. She's fresh off a hot battle before she got transported back to Earth. I mean, look, in True Colors, she experienced things that she wouldn't have ever wanted to, all within the span of a day. She has to fight her friend again, she finds out that her another friend was betraying her best friend gets thrown off, she gains a new power, her friend gets stabbed on the back, and she leaves both of her friends behind. This is more than enough to traumatize her. It's totally understandable that she wants to get back to Amphibia as soon as possible to help her friends and stop Andreas. She's going to have severe anxiety issues this season, and this will make for some interesting arc for her to go through. And talking to her parents will be a great way to vent on her rough feelings. We're also gonna get to see a bit of an insight about how she acts when she has her parents around. It'll be very nice to see Mr. and Mrs. Boontree finally giving this girl a good old pat in the head because she's been through a lot. Also, I wonder how they would react when Anne told them about the world of Amphibia and the sentient frog family she brings along. I'm interested to see both of them talking to Hop Up about the different ways they parent Anne. Anne also has learned that even her two friends can break her trust she gains for them. Even if she does able to return to Amphibia, sure, she will be very relieved to see them, but will she ever forgive them? Because of all three of them being stranded in separate places and with Sasha and Marcy's ideals and goals being affected by each of their side's own needs, this big mess of a conflict happens and it rips their friendship apart. I'm pretty sure Anne won't let this slide straight away. Yeah, I know she's the one who is the kindest among the three, but she's not a goody two-shoes that will just accept things the way they are. If they keep having conflicts about what they should do, they won't win. They defeat each other and Andreas takes advantage of that. The three of them have learned their lessons and it's gonna take a while for their friendship to return to how they were. I just want the three of them to be happy again, and this is why the ending of the show will taste so good. Still talking about Anne, now that she has a new superpower, she now has a new task to discover on how to use the power properly. So now we also have a training arc into the mix. That's neat. If you're into Amphibia just like I am, you should know that Anne's eyes glow blue every once in a while throughout the show whenever she's in the middle of a fight. And it's finally come to a full force on True Colors where she reaches her emotional breaking point. She needs to try to think of something that triggers this power so that she can control it consciously, since the last time she uses it, she almost passes out. It'll be so cool when the two other girls got their superpowers as well and they just beat the crap out of Andreas. I love to see that happen. Another thing that really has me excited is Sasha. Besides Anne, Sasha is the one that is going through a big arc of her own. She is the one that conflicts with Anne the most. Ever since both of them are stranded, they're just on different sides. Even when the three girls are back together, both of them are struggling to get along. She is likely the one that is going to go through the most redemption arc in this season. She already does the first step by trying to hold back Andreas so that Anne can get through the portal. But she knows that she and Anne are major threats to Andreas. So she needs to do something to get as much help as possible from not just the Wordwood people, but other inhabitants of Amphibia as well. And this is where Sasha's struggle starts. We as an audience, the Wordwood people, and now the Utopians have always thought that, hey, Sasha's done worse things and her actions have caused all of this mess, so she's the bad guy, right? But Sasha realizes that she actually prevents an unwanted chaos to happen. It's just the effects of the brute force that she usually chooses to do to get her goal that backfires on her afterwards. She's a good person with good intentions, but she lacks the execution. She often rubs people the wrong way, and this is something that Sasha should fix. She needs to get people on her side and convince them because they have little to no choice. When I saw that part of the trailer where Sasha takes a peek at Anne's journal while on Amphibia, it dawned on me that it was the very moment that Sasha's mindset towards Anne changed. She will no longer want to make amends just for her own purposes, but as a true friend. And this is her true motivation to stop Andreas. She just wants to let Anne know that as the closest one to encounter the big bad villain, she has the responsibility to try to stop him. So yeah, I'm really stoked for more Sasha episodes, especially when she has to deal with the Wordwood people that will certainly hate her for her past actions. Also, have you guys noticed the pattern in previous Amphibia seasons? You know, each girl's hanging out with the minor characters from Wordwood, Anne with Wally, Marcy with Maddie, so it's just natural that Sasha will have an episode of her trying to connect with Ivy. But here's the problem, Ivy is nowhere to be seen in the trailer or the intro. Don't tell me she's absent in this season. It can't be. I refuse to believe it. Matt, where is she? Where is she, Matt? I want to know where she is! Also, speaking of Wordwood people, is it weird that Mrs. Croker, Wally, and Loggles appeared in the intro to make it seem like they are more important than they ever are? I've seen theories floating around the internet that Sasha will lose an eye because the three of them only each have one eye and she's right beside them in this shot. Guys, please do not jump into conclusion. We've already seen Marcy getting stabbed and now you guys want Sasha to lose an eye? Wow, y'all are heartless. They're just teenagers. Jeez. Let's move on to the other characters that could help Sasha with this situation. Grime, of course, will try to support Sasha whenever she's having some difficulties. I hope we still get enough memorable lines and screen time because of all the many things that the show has to cover. And then there's Yunan and Olivia, which I am so happy that they will be essential roles in the season. In my previous Amphibia video, I joked about how I forgot both of them were in season 2. But during the hiatus, all the fan arts and the ship between both of them made me appreciate them a lot more. Due to the lack of screen time in season 2, it's very interesting to see their chemistry here, especially since Olivia really takes her time to put a flower on Yunan's hair. Tell me that isn't adorable. They will be such a power duo here, and judging from the Marcy theme song takeover animatic, they actually are. They're being such great moms to Marcy, and it pains me to see that even both of them are unaware of Andreas' evil plan. Oh yeah, I need to talk about Marcy. Well, I'm sorry to tell this, but she's in the water bowl. And she's not gonna move anytime soon. Nah, I'm just playing with you guys. Look, she's alive and well in the hands of her moms. Wait a minute, white surroundings? No way, they can't be transported to Earth. Hell, maybe even other worlds, who knows? Does this mean that Sasha is able to retrieve the box again and does the same thing to Marcy and the News just like what she does to Anne in True Colors? I don't know, I'm overthinking this. And then there's also this couple of shots that must have been a flashback. Marcy's leg is seen to be injured here, and in the theme song takeover, she literally falls off the stairs just after she arrives in Utopia. Man, am I concerned for her. She's the epitome of being prone to danger. It'll be really charming to see this flashback on what happened when Marcy first arrived and how she felt about the Newts initially. Also, just like Sasha, Marcy has some explaining to do for Anne when they reunited. Like, she's literally the culprit, the reason why the girls are teleported there in the first place. Surely things are not gonna go down well. She's the one who brings her friend into all sorts of trouble just because she doesn't want to be alone, and she pays for the consequences. Calling it, when Marcy finally reunites with Anne once again, she will break down into tears. She's going to regret the action she made that very day when she convinced both girls to grab that magic box. But even when the war is over, it doesn't change the fact that Marcy still needs to move out with her parents. The entire storyline of Amphibia wouldn't have existed if Marcy just came towards Anne and Sasha and said, "Hey, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to move out. Maybe we can meet each other online, or I'll be back every month or so." But it's not as surface level as that. She takes extreme measures to ensure that she can stay with Anne and Sasha. Screw Earth, as long as we can stay together, it's okay. Does this imply that Marcy is actually an introvert, someone that has a difficulty to start a new interaction with other people outside of her core friends? Actually, now that I realized it, yes, she actually said it in one episode.
Me? I have trouble looking people in the eye sometimes.
I know that throughout the show, she's willing to talk about her interests to others in Amphibia, but the fantasy world is way different than the cruel reality of Earth that we live in. Marcy often takes interest in fiction, like games, and that's the reason why she's doing better than ever in Amphibia, a seemingly fictional world that she finds herself in. She actually feels like the main character in her video game she loves. That's why she just wants to escape Earth, our reality. Let's face it, we all just want to live in a world where we can do anything we want. Well, unfortunately, now that the line between fiction and reality has been blurred, I think Marcy has realized her actions pay big time. Oh my god, I really went full length talking about Marcy. Sorry for derailing the topic, I was in the zone back there. Hey, just like Marcy, I like the relatability here. I also want to see more Sasha and Marcy interactions, which is one of the things that the fans are excited for. They are railing on the ship harder than ever lately. But of course, there's no bigger ship in the show other than Marcan. Yes, I'm pronouncing it that way, shut up. Many people really want Marcan to be canon in the end, and I can see why, but also I can't. Yeah, I know Anne blushes when she's talking to Marcy. It's not like I made a joke video about it. It's just The theme about friendship running within the three girls is the main driving point of the show. And thinking about only Anne and Marcy having a crush on each other in the end while Sasha is just there on the side saying, "Ah, those girls are gay, good for them." I don't know, makes me feel like something is off. And it's not like I'm against those two being canon. I'm really liking two girls having crushes on each other. Take a look at Lumity for example. It is a natural ship that connects to both of their own character arcs. I get how Lumity will be canon eventually and I will fully support them. Meanwhile, I think the biggest appeal of Marcan just comes down on how cute it looks when they hug or when they hang out with each other. I support the ship all the way. I do think Anne and Marcy interactions are so fun, but for me, personally, if they're gonna make one ship that will be canon in the finale, it's the ship between all of the three girls. It'll make things much more fair and more even. That's it, I'm settled for it. Sasha Narcy for the win, people! Up until this point, I've been talking a lot about what will happen to the characters, especially the three girls. But what about the actual separate episodes? About the stuff we saw in the trailer? About the new characters we're about to be introduced? About RuPaul? I have no idea why RuPaul isn't here working with the freaking FBI, but okay. Let's get into the Christmas special first. The news said that the special will feature a song with the one and only Rebecca Sugar as the songwriter. I think we should get the tissues ready for this one. There's also like this giant Santa Claus wreaking havoc throughout the town. Like, how does this happen? Is Jack Skellington behind all of this? And then there are these two girls talking to Polly. I can already see that their energy level is on the same page as Polly's. And wait a minute, is that Frobo in the background? Yeah, judging from the early titles of the season, Polly is still trying to fix Frobo. And I hope that she actually uses the washing machine as its body, because a racing car? Really? We're not doing Alligator Loki here. And apparently, Andreas sent multiple evil Frobos on Earth to capture Anne and the Planters, which makes Anne's job a lot harder. And who is this guy with a Doc Ock robotic appendage? Don't tell me he's another Ronaldo, I've seen enough of that guy already. There's also the part where Anne and the Planters sneaking into the museum, probably trying to find an artifact to get them back to Amphibia. There's also this episode Thai Feud, which is a wordplay from Thai food. Will we finally get to see the Bunchi restaurant? Does this connect to Anne driving this big fan even though she's too young to have a license? The Planters are also wearing human outfits while on Earth, most likely to disguise themselves from being exposed to RuPaul and the FBI. There's this blue-haired girl who I presume is Anne's therapist. There's an episode of the temple, and finally having her internet back. There's this odd creature. There's a lot going on here. I'm just hoping that all of this stuff doesn't bog down the plot too much, because I want to know what happened to Marcy, who suddenly transformed into an axolotl. I have no idea how to pronounce it. And I saw very few people talking about the relief behind the Amphibia logo every time the intro ends. It's likely symbolic of the three girls fighting against a big creature, maybe the one lurking in Andreas' basement. How will it go? I don't know, it's not clear yet, but we'll get there. Another mystical thing I wish to be uncovered in depth is the Calamity Box, as well as the transportation between worlds. I also want to get to know more of Sasha and Marcy's parents, if we have enough screen time, because their own backstories I think can provide some nice details to how they act the way they are. It should be touched down at least a bit this season. Finally, I guess the last thing I wish is for this show to have a strong ending. Amphibia will be the next Disney TV animation show to end after Star vs. and DuckTales. And God, do I hope it follows the quality of the latter. The ending is usually the part where a show struggles to find a fitting conclusion. And since many people think that Amphibia starts slow on season 1, I hope we can get the opposite of that in the show's finale. I'm not going to predict what's gonna happen in the end just yet because I'm usually bad at predicting stuff, but let's just hope that the show is able to stick the landing in this one. And that's it, that's pretty much what I look forward to on Amphibia Season 3. Let's just hope that I'm blown away once again, and I hope I'm ready for more tearjerkers this time. But I know I'm always wrong and nothing is guaranteed, so if this show's gonna pull out all the stops, I'm just accepting it, ready or not. The least that the show needs to do is to pull off a strong ending for the show, and I hope that will be the case here. Manifesting. How about you guys? What are you looking forward to the most in Season 3? You can leave your thoughts in the comments. See you later on October 2. Sir Breezy signing out. Peace.